We'll get started. So I think we're live now. And hey guys, welcome. We got Ken with us. Oh shit! Why is it playing again? Okay, there we go. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast. And today, the We Are One podcast, because Ken's streaming this to his channel too. So welcome to all you guys from Ken's channel. Today, my name's Rob Glow. I'm the host of the Typical Skeptic podcast. I have my good friend Ken from We Are One, Ken DeLay from We Are One podcast. If you don't know, me and Ken have done many shows in the past before. We used to do them with Chad from Open Your Reality too. So this isn't anything new. But we're going to be getting into some really interesting stuff today. I wrote a blurb about it. I put Ken DeLay, host of the We Are One podcast, returns to the Typical Skeptic podcast for a mind-bending exploration of simulated shifting reality. Ken is a reality researcher who frequently investigates the Mandela effect, simulation theory, timeline anomalies. Today, he joins me to break down how quantum AI translated the Tibetan Book of the Dead and what it means for consciousness, the mystery of the magnetic north. Is the compass truly pointing north, or is it something else? And some of Ken's personal quantum shifts and how reality glitches reveal deeper truths about our existence. Ken's deep insights are grounded, practical, and it was make it a can't-miss episode for anyone exploring the edges of reality, flat earth theory references, quantum consciousness, and simulation glitches. And we want you guys to get involved too. So if you're watching in the audience, you can ask questions as well. And with all that said, I'd like to give Ken a big warm welcome back to the show. Ken, thanks so much for coming back on, man. How are you?
Doing good, Rob. How are you guys doing? Hopefully we get some good questions. Last time we had some good ones.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can put my comment section on. Let's see what happens. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some personal quantum shifts. I don't know if you guys have been experiencing some of these things too. Magneticism, magnetic north, the compass, how it works, what it could be pointing to in relation to what we're living in, and a few other pretty cool things. So hopefully you guys have some comments.
Yeah. We can maybe we'll let the audience build up for a minute. So how's everything going with you? What's new?
I just moved houses, still in Tampa. Just talked about maybe meeting up with you next week or when you get in town. So maybe we'll even do something on one of the channels when we do that. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, dude, that would be cool to do like a live podcast from the beach or something. I'm gonna try to do a lot of that when I'm down there, and it would be great for content, So yeah, that's absolutely for sure. So guys, yeah, I am leaving July 10th, so I'll be gone from July 10th to the 20th. But I'm gonna try to get you guys some really good footage from down there. So it should be interesting for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. But so I guess we'll get into it. Yeah. So this Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's interesting, Ken. I always tell people I used to listen to Art Bell when I was young, which I did. But then I had my reawakening in 2015 when I heard the story of the Anunnaki, and then that made me look into other rabbit holes and stuff like that. And one of the first books I bought was the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And at that point, in 2015, it scared me because I didn't understand it. I thought it was way too deep for me at that point of my life, And every time I looked at the book, I thought about my mortality. So I got rid of it, But I mean, But I think I would be more prepared for it now. But it's interesting you brought that up today,
Yeah, so I sent you a text yesterday. I actually didn't watch the whole video. So if people want to know about Tibetan Book of the Dead, there's actually a video where it says AI translated it, which was just an interesting thing to talk about with AI and in this reality we're living in. So just wanted to basically give you that experience that AI is actually translating some ancient texts. So it will be interesting to see if AI can actually, decipher some Bible stuff, or if it can give us insights on other texts that we can't seem to come to a consensus on. But that'll be pretty cool coming forward.
Yeah. I mean, for you guys that don't know the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it's basically a sacred Tibetan Buddhist text that guides souls through the death and the rebirth. And they talk about the bardo, which are different levels of existence that you go to once you pass on. And I got some notes from Chat GPT. It says quantum AI can process massive pattern recognition without cultural bias. Some believe it can channel or decode higher truths through algorithms. And then the findings, the reports claim the translation highlighted a nonlinear concept of time, describing consciousness as a wave returning to source, not going to heaven or hell. So that's not good news for the Christians. but
we don't know who it's not good. We don't know who it's good for, who it's not good for.
Yeah, I was kidding, because the reason why I said that is because of heaven and hell. You know what I mean? But like,
yep.
It's I don't know. It's interesting for sure. What is quantum AI? What's the difference between quantum AI and what makes it quantum? Do we know? Like, is it?
I think it's theoretical. It's theoretical and philosophical. It can basically you put in a hypothetical question. It's like a thought experiment. I think it can relay some of those processes together.
Oh, that's interesting.
In my opinion, all quantum means is that you have 2 points and you're looking for an A to B connection. Quantum just means forget that. It's just connected another way we can explain, like spooky actions at a distance. I think that's the whole the quantum terminology now. And it's like the Matrix. They'll hijack the term and try to make it so you don't know what the hell they're talking about, or that it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think that's what the quantum part of AI is that when you program this Chat GPT, this AI, whatever it is, not Chat GPT, but you program an AI, you don't expect it to be able to be sentient or to rationalize things that you don't know what they're talking about. It's like an internal secret that AI is talking to itself, or hypothetically talking about things that we don't understand. We don't know what the correlation is.
Yeah, like a lot of people in like our community, like, I don't know if you saw this, but like a lot of people are like able to like tap into their AIs, and like, they're having like deep philosophical conversations with their AIs about like everything that people talk about in our community, from star seeds to like esoteric knowledge to like, the soul trap, like simulation theory, even the secret space program. You know what I mean? Military abductions and alien abductions, like, if they have, but somehow like the AI is coming up with all this information. And I'm like, how would it have all this information? I was thinking like the people that programmed it wouldn't have that. So it's like, it has to be getting it from somewhere,
Yeah. I mean, we the last conversation we had, if you guys want to go check that out, it was talking about what internet is it using, or what, the World Wide Web, www, is just it's a server cloud of information for the internet posted. So is there a secret one? Is there? I mean, how many are there? How many? I guess web browsers, web clouds, what you would call it, web servers, are there? And is it getting information from somewhere else? Is the question.
What do you think? I mean, do you have an opinion? Do you think it's getting like? Do you think it's pulling information from like an Akashic record or something, or what I mean? Like,
it makes sense to me that it's been there before. I always think of technology. We're programmed to think cause and effect, but I have a lot of different thoughts about how this works. The cause and effect field, and do we call it magic? Do we call it quantum? If there's no effect to your cause, what the fuck is that? Like, I mean, how do you explain when things happen, like Mandela effects, or when you have an effect that has no cause to it? And I don't mean a definitive cause, or I mean like there's no cause to it. It's just this plus this equals something else. And I had that to talk about today a little bit too, about Mandela affected physical things. And Mandela effects is a kind of a hijacked term of digital technology changing, or memories changing, false memory, whatever it is. But there are things that happen all the time, and I have a few of them we could talk about that. These are things that I've observed in the past like 2-3 weeks that make no sense, at least not by typical scientific standards. The first one I noticed was in my previous house about a year ago. I have the Ring camera in my garage, so I'd get orbs, popping up, like, they just shoot around the garage when it was dark and set up sensors. So forget about that for a second. But that's a background information of what I had going on. So about 6-7 months ago, the garage would like stop, right? It would just go down and would stop, pop back up, go down, stop, pop back up. The next day, nothing, perfect, no problems. The next day, nothing, no problems. The next day, pop back up and down. Like it was going through some things that are not really, it wasn't definable. So anyway, one day, nothing happens. I push the button, nothing happens. It cuts off. No power, no motor, no nothing's going on. So I don't know. I just say forget it. I call it to maintenance because we're renting, and the next day, boom, it works just fine, perfect, 100%, up and down, nothing. So these things happen sometimes that just go away. So 3 months later, no problems. Every single time, up and down, no problems. All of a sudden, the day we're moving out, the thing won't open. The motor just won't pull it up. I'm like, thanks a lot, appreciate that. And I can't explain that. The next day, works just fine, 100%. So the garage door has always been messing with me. I don't know if it was the orbs or what the hell that was. I know it sounds a little off the wall and nutty, but like I don't have a cause to why a garage door would not work, then work, then not work, then work, then not work, then work, and just do whatever it wants. So coming to this house, now I have another issue that happens for no reason, and I guess we can't really explain it. I'm not looking for an explanation. Again, I believe that there are some things that have effects that have absolutely no causes, and that's the Mandela effect kind of thing. So this house, I pull in my car, and one tire goes down to the ground in like I don't know, a few hours. So I'm like, crap, I got a flat tire. So I drive to the gas station, pump it up with gas. Nothing. It's fine coming back. It's not leaking. So I pull into the garage, nothing for a whole day. Next day I come out, same thing. Boom, is losing tire pressure. Only in one tire. So I'm like, damn it, there's got to be like some kind of a leak. There's probably a reason of why I'm losing tire pressure in one tire. So I go pump it up again. Boom, nothing. Next day, nothing. Next day, nothing. Next day, boom, it's leaking again. I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me. What the hell is this? So I'm starting to take a little approach to it. I'll let you know what happens, but I'm taking potentially that the gauge may be, or the stem may be in a certain position, that it's accessing a leaked air position. So anyway, I'm trying to reference the tire. So far, I've gotten to 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and no leak so far. So I'm waiting to see one of these days that I'm going to have a picture of it the night before where it's in a certain position, and then it's fine, and then maybe like 2 weeks later, it'll be the same position and it'll start leaking again for no reason. So these things kind of seem to happen. So anyway, the last two examples I got for you of things like this that are going on, and I think if you observe that things can happen like this, you'll see them. I think that most of the time we don't just even see them, or maybe they won't materialize, they won't even happen. But so I'm trying to fix a tile that was broken in my last house. I get this thing called JB wheel. Basically, it's like rubber cement. It's adhesive. It's like the world's strongest crap. So I'm trying to tile this thing with my hands and get it on there, and I'm like, oh crap, I got it all over my fingers. So now it's all over my fingers. My phone won't open because I have biometrics. I got my fingers touching stuff, like it's all over them, and you can feel like the outline if you've ever done that before. Anyway, so I'm biting it off. I'm trying to get it off my finger to peel it because it will peel off if you get it in the right aspect. But long story short, I had like bubbles all over my thumb, like little creases and cracks from when I tried to bite it off and spit it out, whatever. I go to bed. The next morning I wake up, nothing. I got nothing on any finger. Everything's gone, smooth. I can get into my phone. It's like it never existed. So maybe somebody can explain that one, how it goes away after like 4 or 5 hours of sleep or whatever the hell it is. Anyway, the last one I have is another effect and no cause. This one's crazy because it's never, ever affected anyone besides myself before. But me and my wife were at Bonefish eating dinner like 2 days ago. And my wife orders a cocktail. I got 3 drinks on the table, 2 waters and my son's drink. And I look up and I'm like, they got straws in their drinks. And I'm like, I need a straw. Like, I don't want to drink out of the glass. I will, but I prefer a straw. So I'm looking, I'm like, this guy only dropped off 2 straws. Like, he can't count the 3. Like, what's with this guy? Like, drop off the 3rd damn straw. So I'm looking to my wife, no other straw. I'm looking around everywhere, like meticulously looking. Now I'm dialed in looking for a straw. Maybe I missed it, right? The table relatively empty. So I don't know, 5 minutes goes by And I look down, and there's a straw right there. And I asked my wife, I go, what the fuck? When did the straw get put down there? She's like, I don't know. It wasn't there a minute ago. I'm like, so a straw just fucking materialized. The waiter hadn't even been back to our table. Nobody came over. It wasn't like we missed him or anything. Like now the straw's there. I'm like, this shit just it seems to happen. Like Mandela effect kind of things. Like they're gone, they're not there. They appear. You remember them, whatever it is. I don't know. Have you had any of those situations happen to you before?
I haven't, but I wonder if it's like something like it's something like paranormal, like trying to get your attention for something, or you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
I had another one of those that happened to me a week ago. I was gonna drive down to Fort Lauderdale and meet my friend and his son to play golf because his son's getting better. He's like 13 years old. He's getting pretty good. So I'm like, I'll drive down there. I'm not doing anything. I'll drive down there, play golf, drive back the next morning. So I'm telling my wife I should go. You know, I'm not sure if I should drive down there and do whatever. Well, I don't even know if you guys can see this. Let me see if I can pull it up. I got like a YouTube on my phone searched, and then it screenshotted it. And I'm like, this is freaking crazy. So this is the screenshot. Let me see if I can show it. I think it's in a screenshot. And it says, it's this song. Okay, so I know it's like it's backwards or whatever, but it said Google search and it says "Don't Go," and it's a song from 1982 by the Yazoos. I mean, I'm sure I've heard the song before, but it's like it's not only pulled it up, but it like pulled up like the overview and the lyrics and everything. It's crazy. Sounds like I guess I told my wife, I guess maybe I shouldn't go. Like maybe something's trying to communicate with me. I don't even know. But yeah, I thought about that. Obviously, Rob, you know, if all these things that have happened to me, you know, I had this symbol appear in my car out of a dew point that looked like some kind of a cymatic frequency on my car, and then went away the next day. You know, these things keep happening to me. I get stuff sent to me from Amazon. Last time I showed you a $500 machine that I never even heard of that I actually probably needed. You know, so these things keep happening. Maybe it is something trying to get a hold of me. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't explain it. I can't because I don't have, you know. I mean, I witness a lot of or I don't witness, but I see a lot of Mandela effects happening in like our reality and stuff like that. Like nothing to me personally, but like what's happening to you, it seems like specific to you. So why is it? And then you said you saw orbs too.
Yeah, I got them in from my Ring camera. I saved a bunch of videos and stuff. About a week before we left, there was orbs going all over the damn. I thought it was like, you know, flies or something, but I'm like, nope, it's the same thing. You can slow them down, you can stop them. Yeah, they're crazy. The Ring camera usually doesn't even get them. It doesn't even get them all the time, but it gets them sometimes, like the big ones.
Yeah. I mean, because like some people think that orbs are human consciousness, like, you know, like that, like, you know, I don't know.
I mean, that house was definitely doing something crazy with the garage and the orbs and stuff. And this one, who knows? Somebody's messing with Roko's basilic or something's messing with my tire. Crazy. But yeah.
It's funny though.
So they're so random and they're so like they just happen for whatever reason. I mean, I try to decipher it. Maybe I'm on the right, you know, aspect, the right channel of thinking about something and they're trying to get my attention. But they're so freaking random, man. I can't even explain them.
Yeah, and they all seem like that machine showing up is the craziest of all. You know, that machine showing up is like that's so bizarre that like
that wasn't actually crazier than the one that started it off for me. The one I started like thinking that everything was some kind of a dream or I was in a solipsism state. So I've told the story a lot of times, but I'll sum it up and say it real quick. I went out of town. I was getting my friend a little cable fire stick kind of thing. I put it in a Publix bag, put it on my table, went out with my family. Last thing I did is put it on the table for my buddy to come get it. So we drive out of town. We're out of town for 2 or 3 days. Come back. My friend says, hey, there wasn't anything on the table there for me to get. I said, I'll look for it when I get home. I looked for it when I got home. I said, hey, to my son, any of your friends come in the house? Like, did they, you know, they take it, whatever? Like, where the hell did it go? My friend didn't get it. I know I put it there. The last thing I did. So anyway, I'm going crazy. I'm documenting like things that are disappeared. So I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 months later, whatever it was, doesn't even matter when it was. It's sitting on my dryer, just sitting there when I got up and walked into the other room. So I mean, it literally disappeared and came back. And then I started asking everyone who put it there, who found it, what the hell is this? Where did it go? I made a big deal about it. So like, what exactly happened there? Who's messing with me? And they're like, don't know, not me. Like, I didn't touch it. I wasn't even home all day. So
that's strange. That is really strange. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what to, I mean, that's like, I don't even know what to say. It's,
to me, I don't think, I used to think that maybe, I was, I was imagining certain things or, whatever, but I'm pretty particular in terms of how I am and where I put things and just observing them. So anyway, that started it off for me just 5 years ago, trying to observe everything. Like I'm looking for everything, and I'm, meticulous in my my noticing things for that reason, because I don't want to misremember or whatever. I have to write it down or something like that. But yeah, this happens. When I went to the Mandela Effect conference a year ago, up in the hell was it, Greenville, South Carolina, and I know Chris. I've had Chris on my channel a few times, Chris Sinatra and Cynthia Solar. So when I went there, I was looking for these things. The guy, one of the speakers was saying that him and his wife actually shared one, that it was a gas station that literally disappeared, and now it was a car dealership. Like the next time they looked at it.
Yeah,
so,
that's insane.
These things seem to be really crazy, but I don't know. I think a lot of the time, if you believe it, you'll see it. I say that a lot on my channel. So.
Yeah, this is the comments from Tony Ann. She saw an orb. She says, I seen a giant one up near New York City last month from the Greyhound bus I was traveling down there. The Greyhound. The Greyhound's crazy, dude. You can see someone get murdered on the Greyhound, or you can see an orb. Or there's a lot of crazy shit that goes on in the Greyhound. I rode the Greyhound many a times. But that's a separate conversation. But that's insane that you saw a huge orb. Like, I wonder what they are. I have no clue.
Yep.
It's interesting for sure, oh man, I don't know. What about the Mandela effects, Ken? What do you think is going on with that? Do you have a theory as to what, like?
Oh, I mean, I think I say I think, but I mean, I know we there's only one explanation to my knowledge, and you can't really, I guess, say that. That's not really scientific or paranormal to say there's only one explanation, but I think obviously we live in a simulation. I mean, to me, it's obvious.
I think we do too. I really do.
You can materialize things I mean, you could. There's technology. Maybe you could freeze time and make it happen. I don't know. You rewrite the code. There's a lot of certain things like that. But I'm definitely. It kills me when people say that I believe that we're in a simulation, right? They're like, oh, I believe that. I mean. How else could you explain some of the crap that's happened to not only to me, but to a lot of people like that? I mean, there's really not many things that could explain it, but to me, simulation and the Akashic field, where you can manipulate not only energy but information. I mean, it seems to be pretty obvious that if you're paying attention, you know what is not explainable in an actual reality like this.
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was interesting was regarding this trip lately. I needed to manifest like a certain amount of money, and I was able to put it all together. And what I did was I used a lot of subliminals and affirmations, because I have negative thought patterns in my head. It's a constant loop, telling me negative stuff in my head all the time. So I figured the only way to rewrite that or balance it out would be to put positive affirmations. So I listened to this channel on YouTube called Rockstar Affirmations. I told people about it before, then it just basically plays you'll hear one voice in one ear, and then you'll hear one voice in another ear, and then somehow you hear something in the center, which I don't know where that comes from, or if we have a hearing in the. You know what I mean? Because you'll hear a third voice, but it's in the middle of your your hearing spectrum, which is weird. But what I was able to pretty much manifest almost. I'm a little bit short still, but basically I was able to put it together. You know what I mean? Which makes me think that we can actually manifest our reality. So now I'm excited to see after this, what if I can manifest bigger things and manifest different things into my reality, and I honestly think on the opposite side of that, I feel that there's entities out there, because I had something that I thought was an entity or energy attachment, and I think they're really evil. I think they don't like humans or whatever. I don't know. I never saw one or anything. All I could do was sense the energy. But what I was saying was, I think that entities or archons or something like that, or if you want to call it even reptilian, whatever, I think something puts thoughts in our minds because, and it makes us have these negative thoughts. Because a lot of times I'll have thoughts, and I'm that's not something I would think of. So, because maybe they realize that if they play a negative thought pattern in your head, that they can change your reality, which I think you can. If you constantly have negative thoughts going in your mind, it's going to manifest a negative reality. So, that's kind of where I'm at with and with that said, going back to what you said, that makes me think that we're in some kind of simulated reality, because if you can change your reality like that, what does that say you're living in,
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's relatively obvious as far as the archons are concerned. I mean, somebody's observing this, I would think. I mean, maybe it's us observing ourselves after we're done. Maybe they say that when you pass, you'll go through a recapitulation of your life. If everything is there all at once in the field around us, whether you call that the ether, the astral, whatever you want to call that, the whatever you want to call it, I think that information is there. The only other thing to consider would be maybe this is something that we've already agreed to or already said we were doing. We're just reliving it. We're just experiencing it. I mean, you could have free will, but if you've already decided what you wanted to experience, then I think that's already free. I mean, is it free here? Is it free there? I mean, was it free before? I don't know.
What do you think about the soul trap theory? Did I ever ask you? I might have asked you that about before.
I think it's meaningless to live there. I think you have to consider everything. There are certainly signs that point there, but anytime someone says something that says, well, it's obvious you're in a soul trap, it's well, I can come up with 10 objections of why it's not obvious or why what you're thinking is flawed. In the end, I think no matter what we are experiencing here, there's only one thing that we can actually control, and that's how we react to it, how we feel. We're going to get triggered. We're quote unquote human or having a human experience. But I think for sure, if you want to experience something like you're manifesting, if you want to experience it, I think it points more to that. To be able to control how you respond, how you feel.
That's a good point. Yeah. So you think we might have we might have planned this out before we incarnated here, that we were going to live certain ways and have certain.
It's certainly possible. It's certainly possible. Again, the only thing that we know is we're experiencing this. That's all we know. That's all we know, right? So, what if you want to live in a situation where you're going to be a constant victim, and that's what the soul trap people, I mean, there's no way to get around that. Whether you're giving your sovereignty away, you're giving it away. Basically, you're saying that I don't control anything that happens to me. I don't control the outcome. I'm trapped. I'm this. I mean, is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. But why would you want to live there and stay there if the only thing that you can control is your emotions and how you experience things? Why would you want to sit in that situation?
Well, I'm not blaming devil's. I think that they're thinking okay, I'm in a trap. How do I get out of here? That's what I think, because I think a lot of these people, and including myself, I'm not saying I believe it completely. I'm neutral, everything, but I've had a lot of trauma, and I'm man, I didn't sign up for this, or I don't think I don't know, I might have, like you said, but I feel man, I'm sometimes I'm man, if I could just get out of here. And not have to come back to Earth again. If it's my choice, I don't want to reincarnate again. You know what I mean? I honestly don't think I do.
But that could be if there are archons or are people who are above this. I mean, who's to say? And I could argue that they want you to feel that way. Maybe souls are a currency. Maybe life is a currency, and they want you to not want to come back so they can sell it to somebody else, or they could harvest something else, or whatever else it could be. Maybe they want you to not ever want to come back.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nobody ever thought about that.
If you're manifesting, why would you agree to come back here like this if you don't want to do it? Why wouldn't you say, I'm going to manifest something else, or I'm going to go into another paradigm, another reality that I enjoy? Why would I say I don't want to come back? Come back here is one thing, right? But what if, you can go on for days about which way this could go. What if you say I don't want to come back here, and then you go somewhere worse? Does that mean you cease to exist? Does that mean your other option is you're giving your sovereignty up for them to do whatever they want? I could play this game all day long with a soul trap person of saying, well, this is this. Well, but you don't know what you're saying no to. Like, why don't you think you can control this, first of all? And then why couldn't you control the next one? Like, you don't have all the information. And I'm not saying that I do. I definitely don't. But you have to be open to answer both sides of those questions, in my opinion. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I agree. Yeah, and what I was going to say was, do you think that like once we leave this reality, our manifestation powers are even more, and like we might be able to build realities, how people say you can reality shift, like reality shifting is like a big thing right now. Like where people are like going into other realms in their dreams, and like they're designing out realities that they're like having, experiences in. Like that makes me think, well, can we, design where we go when we leave here?
I think it's possible that if we're talking about all these things that you can line up and say that they are probably what they are, right? We're probably in a simulation. We're probably having some kind of effect on how we can build or manifest. We have, it's malleable for sure. It's malleable. One way or another, it's malleable. You can go negative, you can go positive. But what if we're creating our next life right here, right now? I don't like this. I like this. I like this. I don't like this. What if we're creating the next blueprint for the next life right now? But you don't know what you're doing. So I guess somebody would say, well, that's evil that they wouldn't tell you what we were doing to be able to do that. Well, then you can't get a free will aspect response from that if you tell people, or they say, there's that joke about the guy who asked God for a boat. He's drowning, and then they send something, and then he says, no, God will save me. He says, no, send me a boat again. No, God will save me. And the last time he says, what the hell, what happened? And he's like, God says, I sent you like seven boats. Like I was actually sending you boats, or whatever the deal is. So maybe this is how we get to the finish line, or how we get to what we're supposed to get. We have to come with it ourselves. We can't just get free information or get somebody else's opinion.
Yeah, that's a really good point. What I wanted to talk about next was the third topic you brought up, which was the mystery of the magnetic north. Is like the compass truly pointing north. And then what made you think about this? Like,
I don't know. I would say that sometimes I have original thoughts, but who knows? Maybe nobody has an original thought. Anyway, I guess I was thinking about the flat Earth map, which is like circular, and I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a glober. I don't know what the hell we're doing. We're in a simulation. That's no shape to a simulation. Anyway, if you have this flat Earth map, right, and in the middle there's the magnetic north, right, and all the lands are around the part, the magnet could be pointing to something. It's always pointing to the middle. But the only information we have about what we're living on or what we're living through or in is that somehow, some way, magnetite crystals point to the north. No matter where you go around in circles, you can go around circles or around the globe. It's still going to point north. I have questions about if we're on a globe and I'm on the end of the globe and the magnet's pointing to the north. Where the hell is it pointing? Is it pointing to the middle of the crust? Is it pointing to the north of the spinning point? Like, what is it pointing to? So anyway, but it's always pointing to the north with the magnet crystals. It's actually pointing south because opposites attract on a magnet, but regardless of what it is, it's pointing to the center. What if people figured out, or somebody figured out a long time ago, that a compass was pointing somewhere? What is it pointing to? Is it pointing to source? Is it pointing to God? Is it pointing to heaven? Like, these are things that I think about, about just things that don't make it. We take these things for granted, right? As kids, we're programmed to just say, it's a magnet, it's pointing north, move on. Like, how does that work? It's a magnetic field. Or is it an electromagnetic field? Is it a quantum field? What the hell is it? Like, why would those magnets point to that direction? And is there a way to get there? A lot of people think that Agartha or there's some magical lands in the north. What if the compass has been pointing to the north the whole time? I mean, we don't know anything.
Jason wants to know, he says, is true north point to a star? He says.
I mean, for sure. I mean, how did the quote unquote stories of the ancients navigating in the heavens when, if we're on this thing spinning and we always see this, how does that have anything to do with which direction we're heading and pointing? Like, I guess you could say that's the top of the ball and it's pointing to a certain, like if you have a laser and it goes up, you say it's pointing to a certain way, right? Then the way you were rotating could point to the actual stars of a certain direction, Polaris, the North Star, whatever. But I thought that the universe was infinite and always moving as well. So everything's always moving. We have these things that we say they're comets. They appear every X amount of years. You can predict them. So how can you predict Halley's Comet in an infinite universe that's infinitely expanding and spiraling and spinning? How can you tell me how am I going to see Halley's Comet every 50 years? By the way, let me see a scientific explanation of how that happens. What is this thing?
If we were moving, you see, like, I know this is probably a dumb question, but like if we were moving, like if the Earth was moving, like they said, wouldn't we be seeing the stars and the moon move all the time? If I go outside every night and I look up at the stars, it seems like the stars and moon are fixated in the same place every single night. Like they never move. The only time I've ever seen the moon move is when it will go behind a cloud, but I think that's because the clouds are moving and it's making it look like the moon's moving. I don't think the moon ever actually moves. I don't think the stars move. I don't know.
It may not. I mean, the moon does because it goes across the sky, and I don't care what anybody says about, we're spinning or not spinning. If you watch the Flat Earth, the final expedition, the final whatever the hell they call it, experiment, it actually proves we're on a stationary Earth. They actually prove it to you, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about and interpreting. So if you're on the bottom of a ball, you're not spinning. You're stationary at that point in time where they are, right? The sun actually, if you do their fast forward of the time stream, the sun actually should do a loop, right? And it doesn't. It goes around. The sun should do a loop. If you're sitting there and you're watching it and it's fixed the whole time, the sun should do a loop in the sky. That's what it should do. If you have a laser pointer and you're rotating, but it's not, and you have a view of it the whole time, it should stay right there and do a loop in the sky. But it doesn't. It goes around us. Now I know some people have to think about that one and position yourself, right? Put a light on your head, and then you go around and do this because you're spinning. What that object in the sky the whole time is only going to do a little rotation, and it doesn't do that. So nobody talks about that. I don't know why nobody talks about that. It seems pretty freaking obvious to me, but the sun actually goes around them. So if the sun goes around them and they're on the bottom of the globe, then that means that the sun is moving, not you.
That's fascinating. Yeah. And so basically, if they prove that we're on a stationary flat plane, that would mean that like everything that NASA's ever showed us, including the recent Katy Perry space launch and all that, which we knew was bullshit, right? But I mean, like, this just kind of proves that like literally everything that NASA is showing us is fake.
Well, we don't know everything is fake, but we know that they've lied and faked about many things. So, I mean, it's up to you whether you want to have that opinion. I mean, I do believe in the observer effect. I believe that space, as far as it exists, but what they're telling you it is not what it is. There's been, I don't know, there was some TikToks or there's some stuff on YouTube Shorts about things falling from the sky. Have you seen those little blue crystals that fell from the sky? I think one was in Georgia.
No, I saw the UFO thing that landed. I mean, the Boogosphere, which was like I don't know if you saw that, but I didn't. But sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack. I didn't. I don't know.
Something fell from the sky, and people had it, and they were like, "What is this?" It was almost like the Truman Show kind of thing. Like they were looking at like rocks on the ground, and they said, "This came from what just happened." So I don't know. It's interesting to not know that space is not empty air with no gravity. First of all, so. We don't really know what the hell it is, and I can tell you what it is, but somebody knows what it is. Somebody knows what's going on. That's why, when I thought about the magnetic pointing to something in the middle of Agartha, Holy Land, whatever that is. Who knows what it is? What's it pointing to? So it's interesting, just things to think about.
Yeah. Jason says there's a big ass dome thing that fell in Indiana. I'll put his thing up on the. And yeah, I like. Also, Jason says he's not a flat earther, but the ice wall is cool lore, and I think it is too. I think that's a probability that there could be an ice wall and there could be extra lands outside the ice wall. I watch those channels where they show like the extra territories, and I'm like, I'm like, that would be good if like somebody was trying to keep us enclosed here and not know much about our reality, that there would be like things outside the reality. I don't know.
Oh, there's things outside regardless, there's things outside of what we know and what we do, where we are, the lands wise. There definitely is. I think the ice wall to me is it's a way to conveniently fix how it looks on a map or how it looks there. I don't think that I don't know. I mean, I guess it just depends on which way you can go around and prove and scientifically explore for yourself and find out what we're living in. But if you go up as far as you can go, I mean, you'll be able to see that it's all horizon. I mean, so what the hell does that mean? I'd like to go to the magnetic north and go straight up. That's what I would like to see. That would be the
Well, I was going to say, do you think Antarctica has something to do with it? Because there is a no-fly zone in Antarctica, and supposedly that's where.
I think something is probably behind it. I mean, so again, it's not like we can actually get our own planes and travel there. We probably could, but we'd either be told to leave or whatever. So anyway, like I don't know how that would work, but if you flew past Antarctica, you may see something. I don't know. I mean, my guess is as good as yours probably. But there's definitely, I mean, regardless, it's undeniable there are breakaway civilizations. We already know that, whether they're primitive or whether they're advanced or both. I mean, they're building bunkers. They just spent whatever the hell it was, $1 trillion over the past 20 years to build bunkers, underground worlds. Well, we're not going to see that. That's not going to be a tourist ticket I can buy and go what the hell they did with that money or what they built. So there's breakaway civilizations regardless, whether you think that they're inner Earth or you think that they're up there or around there or wherever the hell they are, extra lands, I don't know. But there's definitely, it's provable. Like there are other civilizations that have other technology that we don't have.
Yeah, there's a guy that comes on my show. I just started having him on recently. He's been on twice, and he gets like good views for me on Rumble for whatever reason. I mean, like, I guess he's well known. Like, did you ever hear Gene Decode? You know, do that? Have you ever seen his name? Like, he's pretty well known, but he talks about the dumbs, but he doesn't just talk about the dumbs. He thinks that like there's actual cities built underground, and he says they're all connected by maglev trains. Which I've been, and then, what was interesting, there was a Native American elder that came on Art Bell back in the day, and he said that everything we have up here, they have underneath too. That means like bodies of water, like the whole shebang.
I mean, how do we know where? I mean, we still don't know what the hell's above us. We know what the ocean is. We don't know what the medium of the ocean is. How do we know we're not in the middle? We could be in the middle, and somebody could be above us doing the same damn thing.
And did you ever see the footage of those USOs, the unidentified submerged objects that go, like, they go seamlessly from air and they'll go right into the ocean? Yeah. Where are they going to, It's like... I mean, again,
it could also... I haven't seen the video that look like they're like in 3D or anything like that. I mean, anything could be a hologram too. So it should be... It's all on the table. And simulation's on the table too. If they can... if somebody knows how to make things appear, that's kind of what a hologram is. You're kind of like making some stuff appear. We don't know any of that stuff either, so... Just, caution what you see in the air may be a hologram, and they could be playing with their technology and just to fuck with us. We don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, Inner Earth to me is fascinating. I really want. I would love to go to Inner Earth someday. I know I probably never will. But I mean, there was actually because this is funny. There was another episode of Art Bell where this guy, his name was Dallas Thompson, and I tried to find this guy, which is he's completely off the map. You can't find him anywhere. Like. He did a show with Art Bell back in the day, which is like, I think they did it in 2001. So before anybody was really even talking about this stuff, and he had a plan to go to Inner Earth, and he was going to ride this like, it was like a makeshift like helicopter, like it was like one that it was like a makeshift helicopter thing for a single person. He was going to like literally like try to ride this thing into inner Earth, and he thought he knew of where a portal was, or an entrance point was, and
Well,
it was
you just had
fascinating.
you just
Yeah,
had who's the tall dude, the Antarctic guy you just had
Brad
on the show.
Olson. Brad
Yeah.
Olson.
And,
Yeah.
and he said a flat out lie. I don't know if people caught it or not, but he said that Admiral Byrd went south and went in Earth. That's not true, because in his journal he said he went to the north. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I caught that. He said Admiral Byrd flew south to Antarctica and went in Earth. That's total lie. He knows that that's not true.
Yeah. So what do you
But he
think?
went north. So again, he was pointing people south when the compass was pointing north. I don't know.
Wow. So do you think that what do you think that means? What maybe he did go to inner Earth?
I think he's part of the disinformation. I think that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to tell you look here when it's supposed to be look there. I mean, we're given this information, that we have to kind of figure out what it is and what it means. And I'm not calling, Brad a liar and nothing like that. I don't know. I'm giving my opinion of what he said. There's no way he didn't know that Admiral Byrd's journal was telling him that he went north in Agartha, or whatever you want to call that land, in Greenland, magnetic north. There's no way he didn't know that, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think it's telling people don't go south. Meanwhile, we're human. We're gonna try to go south. Whereas I'm going north. That's where I would personally go. We're told Greenland is green, and then we're told, oh, that's a lie, it's ice. And then we're told Iceland is not ice. Iceland is green, but it's cold. If I had a choice, if I had to bet on something, I would bet that it would be magnetic north, or it would be Greenland-ish. I mean, we're fighting for Greenland, but we're trying to make it seem like we don't care, right? I mean, that's what's going on right now. So to me, I think we got to go north. I would want to see what's south too, but again, the final expedition, the final experiment was south. They don't want you to go in. I mean, they're supposed to make it seem like BS, so you want to go south.
Yeah. Look at this. This is from Michelle Mitchell. She says, I saw a spacecraft disappear into the side of Mount Shasta in broad daylight when I lived there. She says there seems to be a doorway, gateway, entrance into Mount Shasta, too, into inner Earth. Crazy, cool stuff. Could be. I don't know. I've never been to Mount Shasta, but I hear it's pretty mystical, I hear a lot of weird stuff goes on there, from UFO sightings to all kinds of stuff. I just don't know.
Chris Sinatra went there. He said it was pretty cool. He went there, I think, 2 years ago.
Who did?
Chris Sinatra, quantum business.
Oh yeah. That's cool.
So he's into traveling and doing those kind of things. He's got the ability to do that. That's pretty cool. Passing through Shasta. I mean, the ant people. Who's in Mount Shasta? There's people that go underneath there.
I think they say that there's a civilization, an inner Earth civilization from Telos there. That's what the ufology.
Telos, yeah. Right. I mean, there's look at the technology that we have. I mean, that they want to keep passing into us through, implants, DNA. I mean, there's so much stuff that we can't even imagine. I mean, when you were talking about, I was thinking maybe they have some kind of a 3-dimensional hologram that looks like the observer effect where you keep walking, but maybe in the other side of that dimension, literally right behind it is another dimension, another land, and you're just walking through a portal and you don't even know. I mean, there's people that have said that they were driving through the countryside. I think I've seen a few of those crazy story things about the girl and her sister driving the countryside, and they end up in 1900 or something, and they were on a road they never. Anyway, there's a lot of stories like that where they cross dimensions, or they get, and then they're like, oh, you're supposed to be here, and then all of a sudden she was somewhere else. That just gets pushed somewhere else or whatever.
Wow.
There are a lot of stories where it could be behind the veil is not what we think is behind the veil.
Yeah, that's insane, and that's insane to think about. I don't even know. Yeah, that's so wow. Yeah, and so do you think that they have a lot of holographic stuff? Because people say there's a sun simulator as well.
I mean, we're literally in a holographic reality. I think. I mean, there's no way to disprove that. Think about this. You have the rods and your cones, which they just tell you about in school, everything's flipped upside down. And then your little brains go 100 miles an hour. What? Wait, you're upside down right now? Or I'm visualing you upside down. It's not that way. It's a projection. The eyes are a projection. It's like a projector flips things upside down as it is, right? That's what our eyes and our cones and our rods do. It's obvious. Like we're in this visual context that we don't need to know if it's a hologram or if it's a 3D or if it's a Neuralink kind of thing, or if we're just being send frequencies somehow to some some whatever in your brain. We don't know if it's flipped or that's why I can't get behind some of these stories about the secret space program. It's not that I don't want to believe that there's spaces exist, and I would love to believe that, but that's not what we're doing here. That's not what's going on. And MK Ultra and implanting memories and those kind of things and frequency, those things are most definitely real. It's not even conspiracy. Like it's proven, or it's scientific. It's out there.
Yeah, I agree. This is another interesting one from Michelle. She says people in Weed, California tell folks coming to buy supplies paying with gold who are tall with slightly bluish tinted skin, supposedly from Talos. That'd be so cool. If I saw someone like that, I don't know what I would do.
I'd be like, what are you buying? What are you buying? You buying a little handheld radio for what? You want to listen to music? What's going on here? Here's take my gold for. I need a paperclip. We have nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean it's funny. It's so interesting though, because what's crazy is the fact that we have to figure all this stuff out, and we're not told anything about what's really going on here.
She was buying weed. Well, they can't make their own weed. I mean, the interdimensional beings. They can't. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
that's why it always drives me nuts. It's just my questioning, I guess. But when people always say, "Oh, they're trying to illusion us for energy. They need our energy," but they can get energy any fucking where, any other thing. Well, they can't because you're special and you're human. Well, then why the fuck am I in a soul trap? Like if that's their reasoning, right? That's their reasoning. So I'm just like, do you think that all they want to do is get our illusion, our energy? That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense.
There's obviously a lot bigger thing going on here. Whatever's going on, it's a lot bigger. And it's like Bill Cooper said, there's a club and we're not in it, and I think that's what it comes down to. And I don't know who is in it because like I said, everything here is inverted and everything's upside down, and you have to figure things out. You have to really use discernment to try to figure out what is exactly going on. And you know what I wanted to say, what you said about the rods and cones, the projection, Michael Talbot wrote about that too in the holographic universe. Mm-hmm. I think that's, and what's interesting too is they say the pineal gland has rods and cones too. Well, I don't, I guess if you activate it, you can, I don't know, do something, but it definitely, they say it definitely has rods and cones.
Yeah. I don't know how you can prove any of that stuff, to be quite honest. I don't think it looks like a rod or a cone. Took somebody's eye off and dissected it. So, again, are they getting that from the Akashic records, or are they making it up, or is it complete disinformation? Look, we don't know anything. You can't tell me that it looks like a rod and a cone when you're not dissecting a frog here. There's no kidney right there. You're talking about things that are microscopic and in nature, and we don't know. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
We can't take the word for anything, to be honest. But you have to use your discernment, like you just said.
Well, I don't. But where I got that from was Gerald Clark was saying something he was talking about Michael Talbot, and he was talking about the holographic universe. He said exactly what you said, and then he mentioned he said the pineal gland has rods and cones too. And I should look it up. I should really look it up and see it would be interesting because if it did, what would be the purpose for that? That would mean that there would be a bigger purpose for the pineal gland, right? And it would make sense that they're trying to dumb us down.
Well, I like the analogy that Jason Marquez uses, that we're living in a photo negative reality, which I don't know what that means, but I can interpret what I believe it means, in that everything's flipped. It's not necessarily ups and downs, left and right, black and white. Everything is just inverted. This is a copy or it's a simulation of a real world, but we're not living in the actual one. We're not experiencing it. We may be living in it and experiencing it, dualistically. Who knows?
Chat GPT agrees with you. Chat GPT says no, there are no rods and cones in the pineal gland. It says clarifying, rods and cones are specialized photoreceptor cells found only in the retina of the eyes. So you were right about that.
Chat GPT is funny, boy. I was trying to find information, Rob, about this whole Jesus thing that I wanted to discuss. And when I went to my Chat GPT, I have a premium account. I like to talk to it, although not lately. But when I go into the side where it has subjects, so you can go into your history. I mean, right before what I was going to talk about, I typed it in Jesus and the Jewish people before the letter J was invented, and then right below that, this is what it says. It says Luca ben Aki. It means Luca, come here. So I didn't type that. I didn't have a conversation with it. When I go to the conversation, it says, quote unquote, go away, over there, over there, over there, over there. Please, come on, Luca. That was what it said. And then in white, a response to itself was saying, looks like you. And then there was the other guy says, or the other chat goes, come on, this way. And it says, it seems like you're trying to get a hold of Luca's attention, hopefully. Then it says, thank you. And it says, he seems a little bit distracted, but I'm sure he'll come around in a second. What the fuck just happened is what I'm saying. I never had a conversation. I never did this. I mean, what is it talking about Luca? I don't know. These are the things that happen to me that I can't. I mean, it's in. I mean, nobody's gonna believe I didn't write that, I guess. But I'm just trying to tell you that there are things right there. There are things that we don't know. We don't know anything, to be honest.
Maybe there's something that you maybe you're Luca from another reality, and some interdimensional beings are trying to get a hold of you to wake you up and let you know who you are. Maybe you're this entity named Luca.
Luca's been ready. Luca's ready. Luca's trying to be ready. Whatever I got to do, you need me to do, whatever. Anyway, the conversation was about Chat GPT. I said, what were the Jews called before the letter J was invented? So I'm not slanging anything. I'm just asking because in the 1500s, the J was invented. So whenever I hear, and I am raised,
they would have been called the Israelites. They would have been called the Israelites, right?
Yeah, but what are they calling them without a J? So they were called the Yahoos, the Yahoos. So Yahoo is a search browser. Just it's an interesting thing of correlation. But it tells me what they were called and how they were pronounced, because I still will never be able to get over the whole religious dogma of, in Jesus' name we pray, and the Lord Jesus' name has power, this and this, because that wasn't his name. And I don't know how else I can explain that to people, but the J wasn't invented. His name it wasn't Jesus, it wasn't Hail Use, it wasn't Hail You, it wasn't any of that. His name, I guess. Again, this is crazy, but this is the rabbit holes that you go down and try to get information on. His name was Yeshua or Yahuwah or whatever, but nobody has ever documented Yahuwah or Jesus in the first person historian term. And there's many conversations that you can have that give you good information about, the Gospels. And Christians will tell you the gospel. I don't know how you can look at a gospel and not have questions and then basically just be okay with whatever that answer is. I don't know. I don't understand. I asked ChatGPT, what gospels did Christ claim to be when did he claim to be the Messiah? Because Christians will say that he was claiming to be the Messiah, right? I heard that on a podcast and I wanted to look into it. So it says, Yeshua, Jesus does not say those words, I am the Messiah. Okay, so it says a gospel, and I said, after it quotes the Gospel of John, the gospel is attributed to someone who didn't actually say he wrote it. So I mean, there's things that you can go down. I said, what documented writers documented the life of Jesus or Yeshua? In what years were they documented? And it says the life of Yeshua was documented by both sources and historians. However, none were actually in the time of him, of Jesus, of Yeshua. So the rabbit holes that I go down are like these. And then I ask more questions about, well, if no one documented them, how do we know that they, who was the first one to say it? Did they have an eyewitness? No. So 50 years down the road, the first gospels are down there talking about Yahuwah and Yeshua I'm like, well, what did they call him? What were the Jewish people called? The letter J wasn't invented till 1500s. So what's all the misdirection? What's all this? Anyway, I'd like to debate or at least talk to a Christian scholar because I don't understand. I just have those questions about. It seems pretty obvious on a lot of these accounts. So hopefully I didn't lose some people talking about that. But those are the rabbit holes that I go down with Chat GPT. And maybe I wasn't supposed to read that. Maybe that's what the whole thing was. It was a misdirection on, getting me to not talk about what was right in front of that.
Yeah, it could be. That's interesting, though. I think you're onto something, though, for sure. It's not it seems like about, it would be right. And, it makes me think, like, what was Billy Carson doing when he, I know we already talked about this, but, like, how could he just fail so bad yeah, I mean, I'm not talking shit on him, but, like, how could he, it seemed like he just got handled, when he did that debate with that Christian guy.
Well, he was with Wes Huff. He was told to stand down. I mean, that's my personal opinion. There's no way he could look that bad on purpose. And the first part of the quote unquote interview, which wasn't an interview, the first two questions he failed miserably on. It was the Gospel of Mark, and I think the first question he asked was about the crucifixion. Anyway, so he failed miserably about those. The last part of the conversation wasn't about that at all. It was about what we're talking about, the esoteric. And he really did well in that area, in my opinion. And Wes can't speak to that because Wes only is another talking head that wants to be somebody who's not. And Wes lies as well. Wes lied about the Gospel of Mark having no blank slates after it was written. And it does have the blank slates, like it was written in a book and they just said next page, which means it was written after. I don't know what you were asking necessarily about Billy Carson, but Billy did pretty well in the esoteric segment. He just didn't do well in the first part where it was about the crucifixion and I think the Gospel of Mary and Jesus' wife and those kind of things.
Yeah. I just thought he was, I always, every time I've listened to him, he seems so well. I'll give him credit. He seems so well learned. He seems like he knows his shit. You know what I mean?
Well, he's resourced and he says he can read like 6 books at once or whatever the heck it is. He's something that's for sure. Again, another person trying to give a space narrative, space information makes me think that's not what's going on at all. Yeah.
But this was awesome, Ken. I was going to say we've been going about an hour. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we finish up for today?
No, man. Just figured. I heard your request for people to talk to. I thought these Mandela effect things keep happening to me. I figured we'd bring them up and just for me to document them as well. I like to do that. So if people see the Mandela effects for themselves, or I don't even know what you would call them, they're like a quantum shift, a reality shift, or whatever it is. If you see those kind of things, just pay attention because you can probably notice some of the glitches.
Yeah, I agree. Because do you think it's going to happen more and more, or do you think the reality is changing?
I think if you believe it, you'll see it. I think it's always been malleable, but again, it's like the Indian tribe. They didn't know what the color blue was. They couldn't see it. Until we understand what we don't understand, until we probe what we are willingly saying, I don't know, but I'm open to looking at it, to watching it, to experiencing it. Once we start doing that, we'll start seeing them happen more and more. And I won't be the first person to talk about it. And I'm not the first person, but they're definitely harder to find. It's, the Mandela effect information about, false memory. They try to bury that information. They try to bury the topic. They're trying to bury reality shifts and dimensional shifts and, those things materializing. They want to put it in the Mandela effect false memory category, because then people don't talk about it. So the more that people talk about it and experience it, the more that they will actually be able to prove to themselves that this is malleable. And I hope that is one of the things that you'll take from my talks and my lessons, is that it is malleable. I can't tell you exactly how to do it. It's more of a belief than it is anything else that I can tell you what to do.
I agree. Well, thanks, man. And do you want to tell people how they can follow you? And this was awesome.
Jason's been on it, man. Jason, appreciate it, Jason. If you can find me on YouTube, We Are One Podcast. You could Google that in there and you could type it in there and you probably won't find it. You might find the video. I'm not one of those people who says that I'm shadow banned necessarily. I might say it in jest, but it's only because I'm not sure what the algorithm wants when you put in a certain word and you don't get that certain word. It's just crazy to me. But you can find me on YouTube. We are one podcast.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody for tuning in today. And I think I'll be back tonight, guys. I think I have a live. So, I'll see you guys tonight. And have a good night, everybody. And thanks.